Hello Java scripters, Bruce here with a short video on one of the tutorials that's in chapter 6. It happens to do with the slide and login screen, and if you haven't figured it out already, all of the exercises, the tutorials in the book, right, are available online, okay? And it's noted right in the textbook. It tells you where to get them. Okay, so this example uses jQuery and JavaScript, right, to show and demonstrate like a slide-in, if you look on the screen here, a slide-in login form, right? I'm sure you've all seen these types of things before, right? So I click on the plus sign, changes to a minus, right? I can fill out my information here and then click submit, and in the in a real application, right, it would verify your credentials and do what it needs to do. Okay, so how do you do all this stuff, right? How do you do all this stuff? So I'm going to bring up the code, and it's a little messy, okay, but let's just go through it first. And the first thing I want to do is just go through the form, okay? So let's just go through the form here, okay? So here it is on line 61. It's just an HTML form. It doesn't have any, method or action at this point because it's just a demo. And then in paragraph tags, it puts a label for the username field and an input for it. Okay, that's for accessibility, right? The labels. And then it does the same thing for the password, and it has a submit button down here on line 71. Okay. The other stuff is just content, for the rest of the page. Okay. By the way, the login is wrapped in a div with an ID of login. Starts on 59 here, and it goes all the way down to 74. Okay. Now, just some of the things going on here, right? The book has their own style sheet, okay, which they use, for the generic backgrounds for all of their stuff. And then this stuff right here, this CSS is for this particular, page, right? So they have a login, they have some styling for the login div, right? It's got a width, it's got an absolute position, right? It's got a left position and a top because it's absolute. And it's got a z-index, right? If you don't know z-index, go look it up. Okay, it's something. Actually, I'll show you in class. We'll just talk about it. Okay, and then there is something called open. You see this ID here on line 16 that has #open. So where do you think that is? Where do you think there's something with an open? Here it is, right here. It's on line 60, and it has a paragraph with the word login, right? And if you go back to the browser, okay, there it is, right there. There's the paragraph, okay? We'll get to the graphic and all that other stuff hopefully soon, okay? So there is the styling for that, and then there is a close, okay? Login.close. Now, let's see if this is actually used anywhere right now, or is it used by our jQuery, right? Let's just find out if close. Okay, it's used in our jQuery. Okay, and that's it. Okay, that's good. Okay. By the way, I want to show you that the #open here. Do you see this right here? #open. There's #login, and here's #open. It actually has a background image, okay, which happens to be that plus sign, right? Okay, good. And the close has the minus sign, okay? So when we swap that in our jQuery, right, it's going to replace the background image of the login ID, right? It's going to add on a class called close. So pretty neat stuff here. This is kind of where you can start to see how all this stuff really works. And same thing when we hover over, right, the open. Let's just see what happens when we hover over it. Okay, you see we got some hover effect there. Yeah, hover effect. Okay, and just some other styling information for the inputs and the buttons and stuff like that. Okay, not too concerned with that. So this is the entire script. Well, there's two scripts here. One on line 85 to load jQuery, and then another one starting on line 87, which is the document ready, and below there it says, hey, when someone clicks on the open, right? The open, the thing with the ID of open, right? Do this stuff, okay? Now, event.prevent default is going to prevent the default action of that HTML element from going where it needs to go or do what it needs to do. If you don't know it, it's covered in chapter 5, okay? We talked about the event object, and I think we did talk a little bit about prevent default, okay? Pretty handy. So then what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if the login form, right, is in fact hidden, right? This is the filtering that we saw with jQuery. Okay, again, you can look this up on the web and the jQuery documentation, and it's also explained in chapter 6. If it is hidden, fade it in. Okay, fade it in, and then add class close. Okay, because that will show the username and password fields, and then change that plus sign to a minus sign. If it's not hidden, okay, then slide it up over 600, over 6 seconds. I thought that should be 3,000 and 6,000, but I need to verify that. So it's pretty quick there. I need to go and see what the fade-in values are. Okay, my apologies. And that's it. Oh, here on line, we want to slide it up, which you saw, and then we want to remove class close. Okay, so when we remove the class close, what happens? Okay, what happens? Ready? So there is the login. I'll click it. Okay, you can see now that we have the minus sign. Okay, and it's purple and it's overlaying it. I now do that, and now we have our plus sign back. Okay, so I'll upload the code because we're going to go over it in class, and I hope this video explanation helped.